It's been a while since I watched a video and talked about the video. I was kind of hesitant to do this because there are already a bunch of YouTubers who do this and already do it better. And I play video games on my channel and I do that well. But 'tis the season to give more content. And 'tis the season to talk about some things and just wholeheartedly dunk on. Rather than talk more about video games and play more video games, I'm going to be talking about one topic. And this one starts out like this. Have you ever done a essay or something and wrote something, or you had to write something, and you just went over to the next person and said, hey, could you write this for me? It's not like anybody's going to care, or it's not like everybody looks down upon this, but could you write this for me, please? Because today we're going to be opening up on ghostwriting. And really, what ghostwriting is mainly, take for instance, the scenario I just painted in, but with music producers or writers and people who are providing lyrics, which is a very big thing, and it's still really used in the music industry. It's commonly used and it is accepted, but there are just those who are very nasty about it and are crazy, in fact, about it, to the point where they just demand their money. They will literally demand their money out on a stage. It's pretty wild. There really are some big people like Drake that can be written off as like them writing their own songs or such, which is totally not true, because nobody like that, like Drake or any of those types of caliber of artists don't actually remotely have any time to do that.
How would you feel if you were listening to one of your favorite songs by one of your favorite artists where the lyrics really connect to you, and then you found out that they didn't even write the song? Well, the
happens all the time. I actually, like, I make it a habit when I feel like I've had it enough. Let's see who actually writes this. Charlie Puth is the only person that I feel like is self-producing his own work at this point. He's like Pharrell Williams. Like, he'll like self-produce. But not all of them, not all these people. We're not even talking about people producing stuff. We're talking about people writing their own lyrics. People are getting lazy, I swear.
all while making you feel something. You may be a great singer or great at delivering a verse, but you may not be the greatest at coming up with lyrics, so then you hire a ghostwriter. One pop music manager even said, I saw a pop star on TV once going, I'm writing my new album. And I just thought, you stupid fool. You're a decent pop star, but you're not a writer. Also, ghostwriting isn't something that's just unique to music. It's probably just as common, if not more common, in other industries. In fact, if you were to go Google ghostwriting right now, the majority of what pops up first isn't music related at all. A lot of ghostwriters will write books for authors, jokes for comedians, speeches for politicians, and much more. The Wikipedia definition is someone who is hired to write literary or journalistic works, speeches, or other texts that are officially credited to another person as the author. Even actual artists use ghostwriters as well. Andy Warhol, for example, would supervise others who would assist him in creating his art. But forget about all that, because today we're going to be focusing on the music. Artist with zero credit, and none of the fans know that they wrote it. Of course, this definition can get a little murky with different situations, but in general, that's what I mean. And this is actually a very common occurrence in the music industry. It just isn't regularly talked about because of legal issues, contracts, and major labels. I'll get into how it works in just a second, but I do want to mention that this has been going on for a long time, and it's definitely not anything new. Back in the 1700s, even Mozart ghost wrote for people. He was paid to ghostwrite music for wealthy people who wanted to look as if they were talented composers themselves. Another example could be Frank Sinatra.
Exactly. And then I think to myself, what if Drake wrote his own shit? That's all I could think. What if Drake, exactly like the people writing their own thing. What if there was no ghostwriters that existed anymore and people had to write their own stuff? I'd like to hear that. I'd like to hear that type of music industry.
Is also a real job too. A rapper by the name of Skills says that he has worked on hundreds of projects and listens through the discographies of artists he writes for, so he doesn't end up repeating anything. MF Grimm, a collaborator of MF Doom, says he used to ghostwrite for many artists in the 90s and said he charged $1,000 per bar. Forbes was actually able to interview a few anonymous ghostwriters, and they said that on average, ghostwriters charge anyone from the thousands to the tens of thousands, depending on how large the project is and who they're working for. However, ghostwriters don't earn any royalties on these songs, so that's what's kind of risky about it, because if the song ends up becoming a hit, you're usually not going to make any extra money. Of course, I'm generalizing, and all contracts.
Still, that 10,000 to 50,000 is bank. That is bank. That is straight up bank.
Britney Spears, Elvis Presley, Elton John, Ariana Grande, even Flight Reacts, and many more have all used writers. The fact that we know that they did it, though, means that these aren't true ghost writers. But I'm willing to bet that many of these artists have dabbled in the use of real ghostwriters as well. The practice of ghostwriting has persisted throughout the entire lifespan of the music industry. If I had to guess, though, it's probably become a lot more common recently because of major labels and their vast resources. Many people in the music industry believe that the majority of popular artists use ghostwriters. You also may be wondering why people hire ghostwriters in the first place, and it could be for a variety of different reasons. I've been saying this for a while now, but I think writing is a very underrated skill when it comes to music. Good writing can make or break a song. Not too often do you come across an
exactly the point that he's proven that I was about to say. I was going to say some people lack the use of good vocabulary and good enthusiasm in writing, and they're already stressing about multiple things. And when you're a music producer or such, and even then when you're like an artist and you're not even making the music or the writing, you're still stressing out on that quota or album. So I mean, it's to the point where you don't have time to learn it, so you're just gonna buy into somebody.
Typically, ghostwriters will send out demos or reference tracks for the artist so they can hear what the ghostwriter is going for. Demo tracks and reference tracks are also very common in the music industry because you can't just send someone lyrics and expect them to know how they're supposed to sound on top of an instrumental. For example, earlier this year, we even saw a leak for Kendrick Lamar's reference track for Baby Keem.
My mama mad at me, I know he fucked up big. My girl mad at me, I know he fucked up big. What's love? I guess I never
work. What typically happens is labels will reach out to smaller artists and either ask to purchase an existing song or ask them to create a new song. Then the label will purchase the rights to the song, paying the artist however much they find appropriate. It's likely that a lot of the time they even make the ghostwriter sign an NDA. A label executive that Vice interviewed by the name of Chris Anakute, who works with artists like Katy Perry and Rihanna, said, "How it works is that we just pay you out for the songs and we don't own the rights. Once the label owns the rights, they can credit however they please. So typically
if you don't have a contract, and these guys are mostly signed in under contracts, and what happens after that is they just make their money. They don't need to be seen. They need the artist to be seen. That's the sad part about ghostwriting, is that you don't get seen ever, but you do the work. It's very sad.
Beats. Although it's possible that some of these DJs and producers were rearranging things, it's also possible they weren't. So your favorite big name DJs and producers may not actually be making their own instrumentals.
A lot of people ask me, like, dang, what have you worked on? And if you ask me what I've worked on, I'll tell you that I produced for Akon, T-Pain, Kanye West, Neo, Sean Paul, Pitbull, Flo Rida, 3 6 Mafia, Nelly.
But they're really picking people
you
out.
actually look up those songs that I can tell you that I produced,
you
won't find my name in any of those songs.
You'll never find them.
A lot of times, you'll be like, either he's lying or something is going on that we don't know about.
And we mostly think that he's lying. We just assume he's lying, which is sad.
Mill called out Drake for using ghostwriters. Meek tweeted, "Stop comparing Drake to me too. He don't write his own raps. That's why he ain't tweet my album, because we found out." After this, the blogs went crazy and everyone was talking about ghostwriters. Then people found out that the rapper Quentin Miller was helping Drake write his songs, and they even leaked reference tracks for songs like 10 Bands.
I can tell you how it happened. I can tell you about them safe house nights out in Calabasas. I can tell you not a rapper.
Oh boy.
Niggas selling swag. I ain't gotta open up the pack.
Apparently, someone from Drake's camp sent the song to Funk Flex and said that Drake was paying Quentin Miller $5,000 a month to help work on his album. If you're reading this, it's too late. But this wasn't completely ghostwriting, as Quentin Miller was discreetly credited throughout the album. However, this situation brought the ghostwriting industry to the forefront if it was just one. And writing songs for other artists is actually commonplace in the music industry. An interesting example of this is when Tyler, the Creator, said he actually wrote Earthquake for Justin Bieber in 2017, but he didn't take it. So he tried giving it to Rihanna, but she didn't take it. So Tyler released it and it became one of his biggest songs.
You were saying, man, like, mucking around trying to find reasons to write for people.
Man.
Yeah. I wanted to just write pop songs for people, so I kind of did that.
But when I say ghostwriter, I mean a ghost.
To get to a point like that where like you're a famous person writing things, like, I mean, I take that. Even if I was famous, people, another famous person is doing stuff in the industry, have already been doing stuff in the industry, and the song went popular for Tyler. That is ironic.
All know and love. I'm not saying it's him for sure, but it definitely could be. Who knows? For this video, I was actually able to speak to an artist who's been reached out to by labels to ghost produce for, and they said it went something like this. They knew me as a producer as well as an artist, and I was being approached by a fellow producer who has worked with multiple actual big artists. I'm talking about Grammy Award-winning artists. They had their own smaller label that was under the umbrella of a very large, well-known label. What their job was is to create/write beats for bigger artists in mind. They would send those beats to those artists under the larger label and get deals for said beats. These deals could be 20K plus, type buyouts, or deals with residuals, etc. They told me that labels will sign producers all the time for them to work regularly or occasionally, and that there's a wide variety of deals available. With that situation I was in specifically, I was given a list of artists under said major label that either needed beats, songs, which means songs that were written on said beats, ghostwriting, or more. These artists could be as big as someone like Justin Bieber to someone I've never heard of that was signed early in their career. Just like you will find type beats on YouTube, you basically were tasked to make beats tailored to that certain artist's style or genre in hopes to get a deal on the...
They're basically custom type beats artists, because the common person can scroll through YouTube and find type beats. They'll just say, hey, can I sign you on to make beats for this person? Which is great. But then to say in the end, oh shoot, who made that? I don't know. Not them. It's sad. It's sad. It really is. It's fucked up. I mean, it's understandable. It's just the way the industry goes. There's really just a dark side to every industry that we just really have to pull our pants up and stop showing the junk out, because they're not gonna do it, and so we can't, because we can't show that side because the censorship as such, and then we can't expect to see the music industry do the same. Yeah, okay, and this one is by Billboard. So yeah, 1985, and I'm not really gonna calculate the years right now, but she's able to hit the number one charts for the second week, because the number at number one, the Billboard Global 200. That is big. And I think I even remember reading about it. I remember reading about how he was able to like come back in to the top, like to the 30 of music this from around this year, and well, in their Billboard Awards at least, that she was able to come back into like the top 30. But that just proves my point. I mean, people can do the same thing again, twice.
They will have 3 to 5 ghost producers in the studio doing all of the work, and will take all of the rights while paying the actual artist $5,000 per track. He gets the credit because he's the face, the DJ, the brand.
Yep. The face, the DJ, the brand. Shameless words to be said by that man. I will say that. What a fucking clout chaser. I don't really like to diss on people, but when in a full moon, I will diss upon that, because he's the face, the DJ, the brand. That is inexcusable. No. I cannot listen to that.
That sounds do it. If every other large rock and pop artist can use a ghostwriter, why can't Drake? Well, I think the reason that people care so much when it comes to rap is because one of the most important things about rapping is the lyrics. But the debate has the entire industry divided.
If I ever need a ghostwriter, I need to just fucking put the mic down. Anybody out here that does use ghostwriters, that's fine. If that's what you do, that's fine.
People think that since rapping is true.
Eminem has spoken a lot of iffy stuff here and there, not even but Eminem saying that openly and on recording, whenever his legacy as a whole is kind of in whatever, if his legacy is in the modern age now and he can't really fit into it, his legacy way back when could fit into it still, because the way he just put that is, if I'm not even, if I need a ghostwriter, I need to hire somebody, no, I'm not doing anything right now because I'm gonna do what the hell I want. That's easy to understand, but my God, I mean, I'm not biased about ghostwriting. I just say the way it's treated is such a bad deal. It's no good, even to some people not even getting paid, saying, hey, thanks for writing for this. We'll write you a check. Never getting that check back. It's like going into Christmas and you expect grandma to bring her $50 in and she just never gives it to you. Gives you 10 this year. You don't know why. You don't know why it's just 10. She won't tell you. But you get 10, and you're supposed to get the special grandma $50. That's rough.
And articles on how to become a ghostwriter in the music industry, which a lot of people will do just to get their foot in the door. For example, Frank Ocean worked his way into the industry writing for artists like John Legend, Justin Bieber, Beyonce, and more in his early career. But as I'm sure you can imagine, many legal disputes can arise from ghostwriting as well. Skills, who I mentioned earlier, actually put out a song called Ghostwriter where he exposed people who didn't pay him for writing their songs.
Oh. There's been exposing in the music industry. Somebody literally somebody literally went to town and acted like they went on a Twitter rant when YouTube will take your video down and you go to Twitter to rant about it for the video back. But instead made a video to go to, a song. That's nuts. Have fun with the legal problems after that. Shoot, honestly, if the ghost writers and ghost producers band together and just take over the music industry, what do you want to bet? What do you want to bet that they just take over the music industry and knock all the rest of these people out of the ballpark? That would be really nuts. The whole video I've been reading off it's like plagiarism, but at this point it's plagiarism. Now, to say to the least that it's nothing more than that, sure, people are getting credited and you can see that those guys, some of them, but then to even say, I think the modern day now is getting even worse. I think the modern day of ghost writing and the artists treating and how they treat the ghostwriter, it's like, I mean, you get paid for it. Unless you don't, you get paid for it. Some people really just want their name in lights, And with ghostwriting, it's not the place.
Producer that sells songs that other artists can just take credit for. This was and still is a very big controversy, especially in the EDM community. One website that has since been shut down, called Producer Factory, said on their front page, Producer Factory is a newly developed idea that allows you to purchase any tracks on this site exclusively and sell it as your own. Create a new professional image or just rise above the rest with our high quality productions by well-known artists. We offer nothing less than the best and assure your fans' approval. So with websites like these and major labels purchasing power, imagine how many producers and DJs are just buying beats off of these websites and marketing it as their own.
And that's plagiarism. But are we acknowledging it's plagiarism at this point? That is the biggest question I've had. I think I asked that in a sense because I've came back to this topic of ghostwriting in the past in my mind on my own time. I've never made another video about it, but I've came back in my mind about it and I asked myself, is it plagiarism or is it just being swept under the rug and we just don't care?
Is a person that writes records for other motherfuckers.
Yeah.
I wrote some records for some motherfuckers, but guess what, Denver? They ain't paid me my motherfucking money, man. Ain't that fucked up? First of all, I didn't want to make this shit. There's a lot of rap niggas out here making this shit. I'm a ghostwriter. I'm the cat you don't see. I write hits for rappers you like and Charles and
God.
Don't get me wrong, dog. It's a shit of that counts. But fuck Puff Daddy, because this fucking check bounced. You know if I keep around no single...
His label made him censor the song since he probably signed an NDA, but in this live performance, he name-dropped Puff Daddy, Jermaine Dupri, Will Smith, and more. Maybe one day we'll get to hear the uncensored version and see who else he wrote for. There was even a ghostwriter that had the balls to sue a record label. A ghostwriter by the name of Daryl Newdorf sued Sarah McLachlan and her label Network Productions after some of the songs he wrote became hits, so he claimed that he wasn't paid adequately, and the judge ruled in his favor for the payment.
Yeah, I really can't say much. I don't hate it. I don't despise it. I think in more of a retro perspective. I think in more of my perspective, I think it really just belongs being taken care of. It's part of a role that you already do because you have writers. There are writers in the credits of songs. But once you ghostwrite, and you don't get any credit for it, I just feel like at that point, that's where you cut ties and you say, hey, like, you could say it's plagiarism. Say, hey, where's my money? Not getting paid for it is even worse. If I'm not getting credit for something, I'd like to get paid for it at least. So I can at least say it was worth my while. Money is really what gets people by, but then that's even more of the point here, is that probably money is making this, like, ghostwriting industry a bit tainted because of the labels, because of the process, because of the way it's worked out. I really feel like that's where it's going.